Hello and welcome back to Lothric's Outskirts. You may notice that my equipment is slightly different. I got a mental helmet and a shield. But in the meantime I got a bunch of other items, so let me quickly scheme through them. This is something that we'll use later. It's an Estus shard. We got those also in Dark Souls 2, but right in the description. A shard soaked in Estus. Give it to the blacksmith in the shrine to increase his usage of Estus flask. In the old days, it was rare to see an Estus flask far from its owner, but this shard offers hope, however shattered. But also what we got is, there you go, a key, the cell key. A key to a cell holding thieves and the like. There is no shortage of branch thieves in Lothric, and these particular thieves likely scaled the walls from the undead settlement, a place we will visit later. But they are only willing to practice their thievery on the high wall, for their fear of Lothric Castle, rumor to devour men, keeps them clear of its grounds. This is kind of important for a side quest that we'll have way later in the game. So let's actually use it to that prisoner that we mentioned before. And let's go to talk to said prisoner.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you?
Dad?
No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable.
This particular thief is actually more amicable from the ones that we'll actually meet later in the game.
Below the high wall is a musty little town. Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of
And he actually wants for us to perform something, a small task of sorts.
Lives there. Please, give her this ring.
He basically has a ring that wants for us to give to an old woman called Loretta.
I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty.
How can you repay me? You're in
Would
prison.
you say that?
Well, he's a thief of many skills, so again, for this one, let's grant his request.
Not a very good one, apparently.
Well, you know, bad times and all.
I place my faith in you. I am Grey Rat.
Alright, can you check his name, please? He's called Grey Rat, the thief.
To assist you.
Grey Rat the thief. Okay,
With an I and not a Y, mind you.
Do your part and...
With an I, not a Y, you say.
Yes. And he gives us the blue tearstone ring and will teleport to the Defiling Shrine, where he will act as a merchant, actually, to give us some goodies on our own. But until we meet Alerta, we can actually equip the ring. This ring has been present pretty much since the beginning, and has a pretty basic effect. 1 HP are critical, low, it will actually increase defense. So, you know, useful for, high-risk situations.
Grey Rat of the Undead Settlement.
Go on.
Page, there you are. Stefan Kornikard. He also voiced Gavlan in the second Dark Souls.
Okay then. Yeah, it's pretty much a veteran of these.
Oh, he was in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
As whom?
Sir Daniel...
Oh, he was the replacement voice actor for Sir Dan. Not that was much, it's more, again, the method acting for voice acting as Sir Dan, as tried and tested since the first game, is to actually put a bucket on your head and murmur stuff. Because it replicates well the lack of jaw. But even done in the remake, we could have just easily take, the lines that Sir Dan had in the original. But no, we called back the original live voice actor for that. It's pretty neat.
And he was also in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. I don't know who he voiced, but
maybe an extra.
Yeah, because remember, in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, that was released during the voice actor strike, so they had to use UK voices.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, quickly, let me, as the description said, if we go back to Under of Astora and actually use the reinforced Estus Flask option, we use that to, have a +1 to our Estus Flask. Similar again to how the first game did, except that we have, a person dedicated to do it. So that's pretty neat. And since we're already here, let's pay a visit to Grey Rat to check his wares in the meantime.
Well, Now
That's
it's
again
time I do
another
my
thing,
part.
similar to the first game. Well, I
Whatever
also to
trinket you
much
need,
in the second, admittedly,
speak
let's
up.
be fair. Some NPCs that you
Just
quote
don't
unquote
ask me
rescue
where I
will
got
actually
them.
gather here in response, will teleport in, in the Firelink Shrine in this case, and some of them will act as vendors. And Grey Rat does have good stuff actually, a couple of weapons, embers on his own, fire bombs, and even some armor sets. I should get the leather armor because the induments that I have are kind of pathetic, but we're gonna try it. Let me use also this time to actually read the stat description of the Ember, since it's, like I said, it's a bit of an important item. No unkindled can ever truly claim the embers that burn within a champion's bosom, which is precisely what makes their yearning for warmth so keen. Gain the strength of flame and increase the max HP until death. With the strength of fire, the summoning signs of unkindled become invisible. And seekers of embers can be summoned to join in cooperation, but beware, the embers may also attract invaders. So thankfully, yeah, there you go. So thankfully, we return to the state when it comes to invasion PvP to the first game, as in invasions. And co-op to an extent, unfortunately, too, will be tied exclusively to a bonus state that you are, in this case, having consumed an ember and are humanity, instead of just happening willy-nilly, which was a bit of a problem, as I noted in Dark Souls 2, because that meant you had NPC Phantom Invasion happening 24/7, and you were constantly swarmed by them, which was a pain in the ass. Instead, here it's more gently made, so you're not that impeded. That also, of course, has the consequence that you cannot summon phantoms willy-nilly as well. You have to be in this state, so you have to conserve these resources and use it strategically for a better, usage. So let's use the shortcut that we created to actually get back to where we were, since, it's actually relatively close to the boss. The shield that I have also offers me basically more protection when it comes to physical attacks, so because the previous one that I had unfortunately absorbed only partially, meaning that I still took the damage in the Wars of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 or Arc V. I don't remember actually how it's pronounced, it's been a long time since I watched it. Also use this. Okay. I'm actually curious on something in the meantime, for the both of you, mind you, because I'm curious. Outside of the stuff that we technically commented upon in some fashion, either with or without me, like say, the Resident Evil movies, or, The Last of Us is a video game, how much experience do you have with zombie media, like TV series and movies? Libs?
Well, I mean, there was an episode of Recess that had army misfits, army of zombie misfinsters.
Wow, I cannot imagine how that is.
Mainly like kids show zombies.
Yeah, obviously, but again, it is one of those, we want to not sanitize, but essentially homage this old movie just in our own style, kind of like how The Simpsons did for their 3 Hours of Horror stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, Shirei?
Repeat that, please?
How much experience do you have with zombie media, particularly, movies and TV series?
Oh, not too much. It's not exactly my thing for the most part.
Actually, you two are both British. Have you seen Shaun of the Dead? I'm curious.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, that's already... That actually also counts for something. Part of the Cornetto trilogy from... God, I forgot his name. The guy that was in that Doctor Who episode. I'll remind you later. Anyway, we got our first Phantom of the day, Lion Knight Albert. If I recall correctly, his set is the same of Drugo Bernhardt, and we can use him to... Come on, Albert. To bait this knight. Albert!
Wake up.
There you go. This particular knight is something you should watch out for because he has an enchanted weapon, but he's not immune to backstab. There you go. Thanks, Albert. And he gives us a refined gem and a titanite shard. Alright. First, before actually continuing, we need to actually get inside this church. And talk to this old lady.
The wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have
Well,
left,
that's a bummer.
gone, to their churning homes, converging at the base of this castle.
Apparently the Lords of Cinders have fucked
Head
off to the four
bottom
corners of the
high
kingdom.
wall. Forge on through
Joan
the great
Blackham
gate,
is
and
her,
raise this
their voice
wall
actress.
to proceed.
And she gives us the small Lothric banner to actually appoint
This
somewhere else.
farewell gift is for you.
She sadly died in
It is
September
the
of
insignia
2020.
of an old covenant.
Her last credited role on IMDb is the voice of Crone in Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground.
Basically a video game based on the more fantasy side of Warhammer.
To hunt these foul spirits.
Although it's technically its new rebranding that happened recently. She also gives us the first banner of Covenant so that we can have the Way of Blue.
Go through
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay, let me use this to check the key items. Small banner held by Lothric messengers. Hold up outside the main castle gate to be greeted by an escort. When the high wall appeared, the path to the undead settlement was blocked, and messengers came bearing this banner. They were sent out with a duty, but had no way of returning. Anyway, here's how Covenants work in this game. Instead of having to go back and forward to the Covenant leader and ask for permission to join, now you have a dedicated item slot where you can insert the Covenant item, in this case the one over your blue, and you will automatically be part of that. And there's only very little ways you can actually break the oath of a Covenant in this game, so it's actually more streamlined and useful. Considering it's mostly dedicated to PvP purposes, this is actually more well welcomed because, you know, it streamlines things for the better, you know, and doesn't impact really the game as a whole. Go. Now we need to head down here. There are still a couple of soldiers, but they're not too much of a match. Because, if I recall correctly, there is another sign. There you go. The Swordmaster, the guy that we beat up in the first part by chucking him out of a cliff. If he dies there, he can be summoned here. So we have 2 Uchigatana for the price of 1. They cannot follow me immediately because, as you can imagine, this upcoming area is the one of a boss. So let's trigger it and then they will follow me. With this cutscene.
Don't touch it.
Because there are some particular enemies that are not native to this place. Potentially invaders of some kind. In this case, this guy. A knight who has been mutated into almost a monstrous form, making him walk on all fours like a rabid animal. But still armed with a mace. Vort,
Did the mace grow with him?
I guess, including the armor. This is Vort of Boreal Valley. Yes, we will actually visit that place with, and yes, it has an Aurora Borealis constantly, you know, placed.
Localized entirely within their castle.
We will actually see. Having summoned these two, as you can see, is still not too much of a challenge. It's more about avoiding the damage rather than how much it can tank. It's still, it's a big boy, but he's not ashamed of his weight, let's just say that. You have to watch out, because this is an excuse for Miyazaki to introduce a curveball. Something completely new technically, but it makes you wonder how much, why, for how long it was not included. An ice element, including a new type of debuff called Frostbite, which, while not necessarily, it's not a poison, but what it does is to actually not even paralyze you, but slows your movement down, making you a bit more, cocky. Not necessarily as equipable as, walking in mud, but it's still kind of a bit of a, a hindrance. So it's actually quite ingenious the way it's applied. It's not as much to be a complete nuisance, but just enough to make you wish you were in normal conditions. And this actually will return in Elden Ring, so it's a game mechanic that Miyazaki kinda liked. And as you can see, Vort is almost already done, for although my phantoms have been defeated. There you go. First try. Again, like I said, this is an easy one, and I had that from Phantoms. There we go, this soul. So let's give it a look-see. Soul of Vort of the Boreal Valley. One of the twisted souls, steeped in strength. Used to acquire many souls, blah blah blah. Vort served as an outrider knight, never far from the fleeting dancer. Which means that there's someone else as well, that is in his conditions. Maybe we'll actually find this other figure at some point, who knows. For the time being, this was the boss actually of the level, so we can move forward. The road to the Undead Settlement is a bit, broken, but we can do what the old lady told us and raise the banner and see what happens. Not very easy, much of a banner, it looks like a tissue more than anything. And again, since this game is all about comebacks, our method of transportation there will be, so the same demons that in the first Dark Souls transported us from Sans Fortress to Anorlando. That's pretty cute. And they exist only for this cutscene, they're not even present as enemies, believe it or not. Okay, bye.
See ya.
This is the Undead Settlement, the place that Grey Rat, the thief, was actually, talking to us about. And I mentioned about zombie movies because this one evokes a lot of classic imagery, like I said, from people like George Romero or Lucio Fulci. Mostly about the... Well, okay, it's also a bit resembling about Resident Evil 4, the idea of countryside. What happens if a countryside village actually gets taken over by, something that turns people, similar to zombies. The idea of what will apply to, farmers and stuff, and, people similar to that. Which makes me actually wonder now what a movie about zombie Amish would be. One can only hope. And yeah, for a bit of storytelling, the people in this village are so sadistic that they regularly open up that gate and let out a bunch of dogs in order to kill, random minor NPCs. This is not too important, these are not important figures, but serves basically to showcase the fact that the people here are a bit... they love to have a bit of sport with their prey.
There are more than 9 people in this world?
I know, right? It's like... It's a Kingdom Hearts miracle of sorts. But before actually entering the gate, let's actually head a bit instead to the other side of the bridge. If you remember, in the initial cutscene, there were a lot of pilgrims actually wandering around and trying to reach the castle of Lothric. These guys... But unfortunately, since the bridge collapsed here for mysterious circumstances, they see... Oh, I was trying to have a lore point, fucking dog. Fine, let me just deal with you first. You just hate it when you're trying to have a lore moment, but someone rudely interrupts you. Anyway, like I was saying, since the bridges collapsed, these pilgrims seems to be all dead, lying there. Or are they?
Grant me death. Undo my shackles.
One of them seems to be still alive. So let's go talk to this one.
Oh, then it's true. A champion of Ash as I live and breathe. To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yoel of Londor.
Yoel
a
of
pilgrim,
Londor.
as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained. Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere. Say, champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service
He's voiced by
strike you?
David Stern.
I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use.
And he offers his services to us, so let's, for the time being, let's just say yes so we can teleport to Farthing Shrine. We'll go talk to him later, don't worry.
Yet you
Most
have
recently,
granted
he's
me
been in
purpose anew.
episodes of Casualty
Yoel
Of
and
course,
do
EastEnders.
solemnly
course,
swear myself to you.
Bye.
What else has he been in? Damn, wow, well, yeah, a lot of people have to go to, a lot of people going to Cardiff to film an episode about an English city's medical hospital.
Sure, why not?
He was also in an
Interesting
episode.
bus ride.
Yeah, he was also in an episode of Red Dwarf in series 11. He played a Einstein lookalike.
Huh. If I recall correctly, there is a lumber bonfire here. Yeah, this game actually is relatively generous actually with the checkpoints. A lot of bonfires actually are not too far from each other. Not that I'm complaining, and just an observation.
Oh god, he was even in. It was in Barney Live in New York City. He played the teddy bears.
Oh no. The idea it's not a thing that you kinda like this.
Really? He was also in Crossroads, Old Crossroads, I should say. The Sweeney, a TV miniseries called Law and Order. Not that one.
Not to be confused.
Yeah. Emmerdale, the Vicar of Dibley. He's very good, like one-off roles in a lot of things.
Anyway, since this place, like I said, it's from the countryside, a lot of the folks there are armed with improvised weapons of sorts, like basons, not basons, sorry, you know, wood saws or pitchforks, you know. Like I said, the classic imagery from stuff like, say, Resident Evil 4, but also, you know, even old movies like, say, Frankenstein, you know, that's right, stories more than anything. And what they did to people here is not very pretty. For example, I need to actually cut this one, hopefully that it's just a corpse, in order to get the treasure that's attached to them, a small leather shield. Again, it's subtle level, you know, level design that tells your story with minimal input. Although, I particularly like this guy, check this out. I've used the torch to actually highlight it. Oops. Sorry, got ambushed by a thief in the meantime. God damn it, I broke the prop. Basically, a couple of people were turned into minimal trees and were turned while they were sitting in their chairs. Alright, let's check this out. See, this is also where these thief enemies are introduced. They are similar in appearance to Grey Rat, but like I said, they're not as friendly. They're particularly nasty. They will be present throughout the entire game, and they love to swarm you or ambush you in the weirdest of places. So watch out. Charcoal pine bundle. And they can be armed with literally anything, just small axes or a flamberge, for example, type of weapon. For those who don't remember, since it appeared at least in Dark Souls 2, a sword with a, with a pattern that without being still being straight, it's a sword that resembles instead a flame, hence why the name. And it looks like outside someone is actually having a bit of a party at a giant tree under fire. Oof. It's gonna be a lot of people to deal with. Let's also cut this body open. We'll see what the treasure is when we get under it. Oh. These particular folks are relatively easy to handle, this one with the pitchfork for example, but the level will introduce sturdier, type of enemies as very soon actually. It's more about swarming you for a place like this. That's actually one of the neat things about this game. Instead of having enemy types, new enemy types that represents constantly stronger opponents, a couple of times the level will play instead the strength of swarming you with enemies that are not individually powerful, but they have strength in number, thus having an opportunity to actually give a bit of life to the level, and showcase the fact that they can represent the environment without compromising the challenge. Anyway, let's pick up that there you go, the body that we had here, and it's an item called Loretta's Bone. That's this doesn't bode well, but let's check it out anyway. There it is. Old discolored human bone with several holes bored into it. A woman's corpse in the undead settlement was found clutching this bone. Her name was Loretta. It looks like the woman that Grey Rat was searching did not make it, which is kind of customary for this franchise at this point. Alright, let's see. These enemies are close to, there you go, barrels of exploding powder. So let's see if we can make some fireworks to it, shall we? There you go. It's not that much, but it's honest work.
That's not how I'd do it. I'd shoot them first, and I'd blow them up.
I guess. The thing is that I don't think I have fire arrows. Do I have them? No, I only have standard arrows. Otherwise, I could have let the barrels explode. Alas.
I think there are no guns in this game.
No. They're present in Bloodborne, but I already have to warn you, Waves. They're not really powerful. They're used as a stunning kind of mechanic.
They're not one of them rubbish guns, aren't they?
Well, they're British guns, so you have to only have nothing to blame but yourself. Uh-oh, I alerted the... Jesus. The lady in the background that is literally casting spells upon me is called an evangelist. And let's just say they're very tough enemies, especially for this point of the game. They can throw axes at you, they have that big fucking mace that they can use. They can also literally throw the book that they're carrying on their right hand onto your face, and yes, it's a good stunning mechanic. And of course, they have a fuck ton of HP. And since also they have, there you go, they also tank a lot of damage. They're still doable. And my guy got a weapon. Let me check actually if that one actually has...
I mean, at least it's not a televangelist. That would have been worse.
There you go. Choice weapon of the Evangelist of the Cathedral Deep. Mentors of the dwellers of the undead settlement. Its long, sharp spikes cause great pain and bleeding. So again, this also tells us a bit of a story. People from a cult, from the Cathedral of Deep as it's called, came to this village and essentially brainwashed the inhabitants into committing these perversities, we will actually get to the Cathedral later, but it's actually interesting because up until this point Dark Souls had not really tackled that much when it comes to evil cults, but instead actually this is actually the game where they do it, and they're not particularly pretty. Let's just say that Jova will have a field day with this. And I got also another ember. Alright, next time I'll go back to Firelink Shrine and I'll actually upgrade. Let's see what's here instead. If I recall correctly, here there is nothing. There you go. I don't remember if that door can be open or not. Yes, actually. Let's see. If you have for those who have a keen eye, they may notice that some of these cages actually do move because they are actual enemies. They are not there to actually give you. They do not actually give you that much damage, to be honest, and they're also relatively slow. So they are actually doable, but they can catch you by surprise while collecting an item. So they're placed to be essentially a bit of a scare. Charcoal raising pine, there you go. If you forgot, because I didn't use them that much, the raisins actually serves to give elemental properties of the corresponding raisin that, you apply to the weapon. So let's say it's charcoal, it gives a fire property. Basic stuff.
Saw a couple of films during the little brief break in between parts.
Go on.
First, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That one you did mention last part.
But I don't think I have mentioned the other film I saw, The Fall Guy.
The one that's about a stuntman, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, a stuntman who ends up trying to investigate a conspiracy.
Interesting.
And all that stuff. And the villain is... actually, no, it's it.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I know that Margot Robbie is in it. I don't remember.
She isn't.
Okay, I'm confused with both leads. Then, can you remind me who they are?
Emily Blunt, she's in it.
Okay, and who's the main lead?
Ryan Gosling.
Okay, so I was actually right on that one. I kept having the mentality of it. I think it's Ryan Gosling, but it's not him actually.
Well, it is.
There you go then.
Yeah, that's Teo Something. Ryan Gosling isn't it? That's the way he is.
Again, compared to you, I'm not. Well, I'm actually got better over the years. I'm not as versed, knowledgeable, or even 100% interested in movies as much as you are.
It's like that thing we had in the Thief of the Journey game where before I was playing Shovel Knight music, but it was the Silver Surfer music.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, this place has a bunch of these thieves using blowguns actually. So keep your shield raised and your guards even more raised. Because these little fuckers want to just... Go.
I just love that.
I mean, to be fair, it's a good ambush, I will give them that.
Top 5 ambushes.
It's not on the level of Blind Town of the first game, that level is still dickish. Which does remind me, I think I did mention during Dark Souls 2, the Dark Souls 2 run, but it's actually interesting. In an interview with, I forgot, I think it was PC Gamer, Itaka Miyazaki talked about the development of Elden Ring, and like he said, this one I did mention, yeah, he did mention his love for poison swamps, but in particular, when he mentioned about Elden Ring, he literally told that the reason he included not one but two is that, and I quote, "I can't help myself." The guy is just in love with the concept and loves to be cheeky with the fans. Holy shit. Let's get also this item, a Caduceus shield. The reason why I'm going this direction, because this level is fairly open, is because, if I recall correctly, we can actually discover another covenant if we played our cards right. Because it's actually one of the missable ones, but I need to actually move properly along the thread of this level. What about instead upcoming releases for the both of you? Is there something in particular you want to go to see?
The new Mad Max.
Mm-hmm. The
Well,
Furiosa
it's a
movie.
spin-off, yeah.
There you go. What about you, Shiro?
As far as movies, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. As far as movies, no. So, trying to think of games.
To be fair,
Little Kitty Big City is a thing that exists now.
I thought has it already come out, or is supposed to come out soon enough?
It came out like 2 days ago.
Okay, then. Again, I remember seeing the development process of that, so there is that. But again, by the time we're recording this, we still haven't had any particular, gaming streams like a Nintendo Direct or the State of Play of Sony, so we need to see what's gonna happen. By the time this is get publicized, maybe those have already happened. But,
Although I will say there has been a movie that I'm not interested in it. When I saw the name of the movie and who directed it, I did a slight double take before I found out what it really was. Richard Linklater directing Hitman.
Alright, let me just give you...
It's not what you're thinking. This is an action comedy movie.
There you go. By going behind this enemy, which has a cage on his back, and actually press the action button without attacking this enemy, you are actually offered a ride. Sure, I don't see anything wrong going on with this. Let's go.
Oh, there's the new Bad Boys movie. Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Is Michael Bay still a director or just a producer?
No, he's not really involved at all. I mean, he hasn't been. He only did the first two. Basically, the third and this new one coming out is directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. They're from Belgium.
Oh, okay then. Anyway, this lovely trip has given us the opportunity to get into an area, a small area. This is not a new level. This is just a small area that normally we will be able to access in another way later, with an item at the end and also an NPC. A War God wooden shield, so nothing particularly useful. Let's talk to this person.
Well, what's up? This pit is for hollows, not for the likes of you sane folk. Or perhaps you are a hollow.
This person also has a fun badge.
Yes, then we are just fine. It's important to know who you are.
I actually have the suit of armor
But we'll
on.
all
What
be
about
back
you?
Soon enough.
Well, close enough, I guess.
Undead.
I'm searching for better equipment.
Also, beware, the shackles of the gods are fragile. You might need this. Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping.
He gives us the Mound Makers, covenant. I'll mention about what this covenant does in a second, just for waiting until the dialogue's done.
You'll see when you go mad. They'll be your family. You'll go mad. Take my...
He also gives me one more bone because this place virtually has no exit, so I have to use that to actually get here.
Piling up. You've better things to do.
You'll go mad one day. Thanks for that. Good to know.
Okay then. When I'm getting back to the Falling Shrine to rest up and and level up, if I had to be honest. It's a good way to use the souls. Let me describe quickly what the Covenant does. Essentially, if you don't remember the color coding, when an enemy invades you, it's labeled as a red specter. the people of the of a particular covenant, so the Way of Blue, there you go, have the task of actually intercepting invaders and help players who are invaded, and they're labeled with the blue coloring. This particular covenant, the Mound Makers, make you become a purple specter. What does that mean? You can summon this specter to actually aid you, but that specter has the potential to also attack you if they want, if they so desire. So it's basically a gamble that a player does. Would you want to risk to actually gain help from this person, knowing full well that they can still attack you, potentially? It's an interesting concept, and I guess interesting way to do it. But the truth of the matter is, aside of our initial release, not many people did it out of paranoia, basically. They stuck basically to the regular PvP stuff. It was still a nice attempt. I don't think it was replicated in Elden Ring. I don't remember that. More importantly, let's pay a visit to Yoel. Now, I need to spoil slightly and advance something if we want to actually move forward, because this is your first choice of the run. So pay attention, kids. This game, instead of having 2 endings, it has 3. One, as you can imagine, the 2 are basically the standards that you can imagine of the series so far: Link the Flame or Just Walk Away. There is a 3rd one. I won't tell you what it is, but it has a bit of a surprise to it, just to tempt you into it. And it needs to follow particular steps in order to achieve it, and we need to start relatively on if we want. So what do you say? Are you tempted to walk to this particular extra road just to see what it is? Lives?
Sure, why not?
I don't know.
Interesting. So let's...
No, I don't know.
Let's use that the coin to decide, but however this time I will throw it. Let me just get it. There you go. Alright, head is Dwibs, so we go through. Or tails is Shiroi, and instead we don't. And I will just tell you at the end of the game.
Okay.
There you go. That will be heads, Dwibs. So let's do it.
Let's go.
Alright, so let's start with this by talking to Yoel.
Oh, our champion of Ash, welcome home.
Wow,
This pilgrim
Bowser's really not aged well.
debt in death.
Yeah, the pilgrims do have a bit of an imagery similar to, say, a turtle or a snail by having a heavy backpack on their shoulders.
Had you not taken me into your service, I thank you dearly.
If you forgot, we did ask Yoel to be of service, to us. And he wants to repay by first being a sorcerer, but also to telling us that he can draw us our true strength. What he means to that, since again it's actually important to go through, is to grant us, if I recall correctly, 5, between 3 and 5 levels, extra levels of, augmenting our statistics, free of charge. No extra cost or anything, we can just, get through with each one. We need to do them one at a time, but it's basically, like I said, a set of freebies. Let me augment, for example, the vitality.
As I have said, I was once a sorcerer.
If I recall correctly, they will be actually unlocked as the game goes on.
Is a far cry from the wonders of Vinheim, but I can teach you what I know. Perhaps more.
While we do not have a sorcery building, we might as well just also, buy the stuff that he has.
We pilgrims of Londor are keenly aware that those branded by the dark sign possess something quite special.
It also gives us a gesture, the beacon gesture. Thanks, I guess. Let's get these sorceries, why not?
Be safe. Oh,
Let's see if it was a thing. Yeah, I'll need to wait until a later point of the game to actually draw more of his true strength, as it's called. Alright, if I recall correctly, I also have another... Oh no, already I used the Estus shard. Okay then. Let's use this time to explore a bit more the village, and then we can call it a day. Especially because if I recall correctly, there is another bonfire later on we can use. Especially because this dungeon goes on for quite a bit. Thankfully, its boss is technically optional, although a bit recommended because of the rewardiness, but I don't think we're technically ready to face this boss yet. So let's instead get back here. Ow. I also still seriously need, you know, better, at least a better armor of some kind, because this is getting ridiculous. Otherwise they will, you know, really get through me like butter. There you go, let me actually use the torch. This is the guy that I was talking about before. Just sitting comfy in the chair while these trickers literally consumes him from the inside. Jesus. There you go. Let's deal with these petty thieves. Or as Blue Lips from the Dungeons & Dragons movie says, just like you thieves, always taking things that don't belong to you.
Oh god.
That's
I mean, that is what I think.
That's still one of my favorite lines. Even it's technically nothing wrong. It's just the redundancy of it.
Honestly, one of my favorite lines in that movie was how he said, "If you don't tell me where it is, I shall be forced to kill you painfully."
Have you actually seen Wrath of the Dragon God, Dweebs, the second movie?
No, but I think I've got it on Blu-ray.
Because the Smurfy Lips actually is the villain of that.
But without the Smurfy lips.
Well, no, well, yeah, because he's basically, I think basically, because of the curse that he was having in the first movie, he's basically resurrected as a lich, I think he's supposed to be. It's been a while since I watched it. The movie does resemble a bit more the tabletop game, it's just that it's still not good, unfortunately. Fuck, I even...
And the third movie?
I haven't even bothered with that. Let's just say that, you know, it was a neat idea to actually reboot it properly. You know, with the more recent one.
With Chris Pine
as the Bard.
Yes, and the most memorable bit of that movie, Chris Pine melting like an ice.
I mean, for that extra body horror.
Yeah, humorous body horror.
Of course. I mean, it's still nice that between that, the Legend of Vox Machina animated series and Baldur's Gate 3, you know, classic tabletop is finally getting some decent adaptations after basically a long while of either nothing or being stigmatized as, you know, just the Satan worship tool for the
I was going to say, it only
wins.
took a few decades.
Better late than never, I guess. One day I'll have to show you Maces and Monsters, because that movie basically is the epitome of that. It's basically that kind of message told unironically that basically said if your child actually plays tabletop RPGs, they will become, you know, a menace to society. So I'll be like, come the fuck on.
Told me they really think.
Like, it's like, I think it's a similar problem that the Karen movie had. If that concept is played for parody, potentially, and not as much straight, you know, I think there is a good potential for comedy values, but the way, unfortunately, it's dealt with, it's just not, you know, good. Again, don't watch the Karen movie, it's really just that bad. They don't even give the character the actual Karen haircut, and like at that point, why even bother?
Oh yeah, since you're asking about films earlier, there is one that I just remembered that I'm actually kind of curious about.
Go on.
Twisters.
Alright, I actually saw the trailers of that when I went to see Godzilla X Kong. And like I said to Jova, I wasn't particularly impressed by it.
How?
And again, apparently I read the story about it. I don't mean the synopsis, I mean the development story. Apparently originally it was supposed to be actually a reboot, which honestly would have made more sense, but then they actually convinced Universal to go through with being a distant sequel, despite that, again, out of the main leads, most of them were dead. It's like... So you know, like, sure, here's hoping that they managed to make it something interesting about it, but I have my doubts, if I have to be honest.
I'm curious. I mean, but then again, I don't think the original was that good a movie anyway. So...
No, it really wasn't. I think it's entertaining, but not good. Anyway, dropping into this particular room nets you the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant, literally out of nowhere. It's just there. I guess a Warrior of the Sunlight just, you know, died in this place. And also a showcase of something. In some particular areas, there will be a cooking pot with S2 soup inside, which basically nets you a free refill, basically. It's actually interesting, because the fanbase for a long while, ever since the first game, including me, for example, we were always curious about what exactly is an S2 soup, you know, is the an S2 flask. Is it liquid, of course, but is it like salty or sweet? Is it like an orange juice, or instead, you know, like a protein soup, you know, like stew or something? There was never an explanation of that, and honestly, I kind of prefer it that way, just keep the mystery going. But it's still funny nonetheless, and this game also leans lightly into that, just for fun.
Whatever next, are we going to get a sequel to Speed 2 actually starring the main protagonist of that movie?
Don't give Disney ideas, Wibbs. Remember, they own the IP now.
Well, I mean, hell, since Willem Dafoe's character was killed in that movie, you can't even bring back the only fun thing from it.
You can have an adaptation for as a Kingdom Hearts world, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, Sora and Donald and Goofy have to stop their cruise liner. Actually, when they want to adapt more the first one.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Dweebs, it's not the first time that they adapted things a bit out of order, you know. Like, for example, the Pirates of the Caribbean movie only does the third movie in Kingdom Hearts 3 and completely sums up very quickly and very badly movie 2.
They'll make it its own mini game. You have to drive the boss, but you have to avoid anything coming towards you, and if you drop below 30, boom.
Honestly, words represented, you know, by just a simple mini game, that wouldn't be, you know, too bad of an idea. I honestly would dig it.
You know, considering it's set in a more realistic setting, the fourth one, it's a shame that Square Enix don't own Hitman anymore, because I would have loved to have seen that. Alright,
we reached the other bonfire, and with this I think we can actually end the part here. So, tune in next time when we explore the rest of the undead settlement and hopefully survive this hillbilly-esque horror. So
hopefully find a decent, a shirt.
Hopefully I will try to find a better suit of armor before the next part. So see you for that.
See ya.
See ya.